Hello and welcome to the Cow Corner Dugout. Today we are discussing match number 5, which is finished an hour ago, but we are live now. If anybody in the chat can confirm whether we are live and you can hear us and see us, then we can begin. I don't
I'm gonna
know
do
if
my bit
anybody's
to check
there.
if
I will
I'm able
check
to see myself
myself.
on Twitter.
You are able to see
No, I'm
yourself?
not able to see this on Twitter.
Not able to see? Okay, I'm just checking one more time. Okay, why doesn't seem? Yeah, seems to be off. Cancel. Save changes. Okay, now check if you're on Twitter live,
I can see it
Mm,
live. Yeah.
on YouTube. On
Yep.
YouTube,
on
are we
Twitter
live?
also. Yeah,
All right, great.
we're
So
live.
I think we are live. Okay, hello and welcome to whoever's out there. Thank you for joining us. And if you see this later, then thank you for having seen it non-live. We are the Cow Corner Dugout, and we're trying to bring daily live shows, match reports, match reviews, interesting talking points on the games which are on, as well as the narratives which are underway in the tournament. Today we have a fairly unbiased panel of supporters and lack of supporters. First up, we have Varnata. She's the reason we are starting almost an hour late because it took her that long to climb down from cloud nine. Varnata, hi. Thank you for joining us. Okay.
Thank you for having me.
Um, Most welcome. We also have Shashank. Shashank has been with us a couple of times before. And Shashank, today I will be asking you some very hard questions. And you can begin with the first one. Is the P in WPL does it stand for pace or panic? Because we saw both of those today.
I mean, my first impression was pace. I think Lauren Bell has already proved 2 games into the season that she's been a worthy investment for RCB, especially the way she was trying to, swing the ball out and get some zip off the pitch. I think we spoke about it on our first show where we said, bowling in English conditions is one thing, but bowling, if she can replicate it in Indian conditions, and she's shown 2 games in that she can. Of course, the toss went RCB's way in both the matches, so that's kind of had a massive role to play. It'll be interesting to see how she goes, especially when she has to counter a little bit of dew in the second innings. But so far, I think she's been absolutely on the money.
Okay. So Karthik, I'll address the panic part to you. Let's hi, firstly, hi. Sorry. Thank you for
Hello.
being around. And I think we'll address. Let's go fairly linearly. Let's go to the UP Warriors innings first. A tale of even that innings was a tale of two parts. They started strong, I think, in the first couple of overs, then collectively seemed to want to play cricket Sudoku, and then collapsed. Faster than we could expect, faster than losing 4 wickets in 8 balls at a point, and therefore, I guess, a game of musical chairs, right? So talk us through that part and talk us through the rescue act, which I think and which I think at the end of it was a fairly respectable score, or so we thought.
Yeah, I think when Meg Lanning and Phoebe Litchfield were batting, it kind of reminded me of the previous game where they had this amazing partnership out in the middle. And I kind of commented that this is Australia's legacy and Australia's future, batting together. So I thought we were going to have a similar, a similar moment, but it wasn't to be. I also thought Harleen Deol had a great opportunity batting at the top of the order, but again, she scored. I think everyone faces somebody like Lauren Bell. You are striking at less than run a ball, and it takes the time to get past quality bowling. Unfortunately, the other people, once the three of them got out, they couldn't sustain their momentum. They had a decent start, slightly less than run a ball. I think that's when Meg Lanning got out in the seventh over or the eighth over. I think when the score was just about 40 or so. And then, yeah, they just were 52 for 5 all of a sudden. I think they lost 3 wickets at the same score, 50 for 3, 4, and 5. So that way, I think while they faced that initial trouble, I saw that Deepthi Sharma and and Doughton, they were able to, I think they took a couple of overs to settle in till the 10th over. And after that, I think over 15 to over 20, they were able to score consistently 9 and 11 runs and over. But I think while that rescue act was done, it was fairly evident that if, first of all, it was just 7 runs and over required. for RCB to win. And at one point, Deandra Doughton was conceding what 21 runs in 3 balls, 28 and 4 balls. She was going at 7 runs a ball when the required run rate was 7 runs and over. So it was a very, very sorry performance as such by the UP Warriors in both the bat as well as the ball. Only thing that really stood out was, of course, the rear guard action where Deepti Sharma and Doughton, gave it a respectable total as such.
Okay, Shashank, quickly, as a specific expert on a specific question, it's all being played in the same ground, right? How different are the pitches? Because we have seen 200 in first innings, we've seen 140 in first innings. Is so? Can we? Is there something we can draw already in just 5 games?
I think it's too early to draw a lot of conclusion because obviously DY Patil has hosted the World Cup, but it's been a couple of months, so there's been enough time to prepare the pitches. They've got six different squares that they've prepared for this tournament for the Navi Mumbai leg of the competition. And you saw the first game on Saturday was it was a double header, right? So the afternoon game, there's no dew, so obviously the pitch plays a lot differently as compared to when the dew comes in later in the evening. But I think pitches aside, I think today wasn't a 140 pitch batting first. I think UP Warriors just got themselves into a little bit of a hole there with 50 for 5, and then after that to rebuild was always going to be a tough task for them. So I think RCB clearly showed that while dew has a massive impact on the side chasing, I think they would have probably been comfortable even chasing about 175 today because the pitch was that good. So I think it's too early to say, if the pitches are tired or how much of an effect the surfaces will have in the competition. But having said that, the night games is a clear pattern that it's clear that the dew will definitely come in and favor the team that's chasing. So the toss makes a massive advantage, and I just hope that it doesn't get to a stage where toss it becomes a lottery where you have a situation where you win the toss and win the match. That shouldn't happen. But having said that, UP didn't help their cause by batting the way they did.
Okay. There are, I think, enough things to talk about of what went wrong in the UP Warriors batting innings. But I think Vanita is dying to tell us about the RCB batting innings. So let's get that done and over with, and let Vanita take us through Grace Harris showing complete lack of grace on the UP Warriors bowlers.
I know, and if you have heard her post-match presentation, she was only smiling, and I think so. She's enjoying her time at RCB, which pretty much every new player is doing recently. If you have heard everyone's podcast personally, so yeah, it was something like we took a back seat and we're just enjoying the fireworks. Of course, last game she got out early, but then we had two matches, two heroes. So if someone said RCB was lucky, I don't think we can win by luck every game. Of course, it's start of the tournament, but then it wasn't luck if you have seen today's innings. And I'm not sure if people are sleeping or still awake, but yeah, we weren't lucky today. We were in the game all the time. I think I can't hear you.
Yeah, I think your
Okay,
voice
sorry.
just
I,
went.
I was asking: do you think it's a matter of luck, or do you think it's? I mean, there is quality, right? I mean, that's unquestionable in the RCB top. Well, today top four, I would say, and that's what I mean.
Right. I mean,
We didn't get to
if
see beyond that.
if you see our middle order, it's still questionable. I mean, there will be a day where there is a batting collapse and we don't have anyone apart from Richa and Nadine de Klerk. But then we are hoping that Smriti plays that role of anchor role, and then because we have rest of them as a firepower, right? So we want someone to stay there, and rest can go up and score high runs quickly. But maybe like going forward, they might replace with Georgia Wall, which we were hoping that will happen. But again, then we might have to push Grace Harris to middle order. And if not, I'm not sure if Georgia Wall she opens or not. But then she has to bat in middle of the order. That's what she was mentioning today, that she can bat down the order as well, but she's enjoying at the top in the power play with the new balls. So yeah, I mean, there will be questions someday about the middle order, but as of now, when we are winning, we are happy.
All right. Before I come to you, Karthik, on the next section, I want to address the audience. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for those of you who've subscribed, and those of you who haven't subscribed, please right now on our YouTube channel. Click a small button. It doesn't take much of an effort and it's free. Those of you watching on Twitter, it's a good platform, but I'd really request you to come onto YouTube. That way we can do a little more, a few more interactions, because um, interactions are not really feasible. We can't take your questions and chat on Twitter or on X. Um, Karthik, there are a lot of things which went wrong with UP Warriors. Um, where do we begin on this?
I think first of all, I noticed that the kind of aggression that they showed in the previous game. I mean, of course, it's a very different situation. That was a day game, whereas this was, an evening game. But I think the first thing that you do is, when you know that the side batting second has an advantage, you will obviously try and bat aggressively. And either you decide that, okay, I'm not going to take on Lauren Bell, I'm going to take somebody else on. They weren't able to take Lauren Bell or Lindsay Smith on. And now, if you allow three bowlers, like together, Lauren Bell, Lindsay Smith, and Arundhati Reddy, they, I think, just conceded 64 runs amidst their 12 overs, which is basically less than run a ball. And once you do that, and you're also allowing Nadine de Klerk to go at 7, where is the outlet to score? So I think UP Warriors, they maybe tried to attack in that eighth over and ninth over, and all of a sudden lost their wickets. I think they could have paced it well, especially when they have players like Meg Lanning and Phoebe Litchfield, who had a very useful partnership in the last game versus the Gujarat team. So I think their batting is probably where they lost it, and because they had a smaller total, like 144 to go ahead and chase, the pressure on RCB was also not there, because by the time Grace Harris was scoring 73 of 30 balls, RCB were like close to 70 odd in the power play itself. That one dot in over of 32 runs just took the game away. It basically made them dead and buried at that instant. But because of what Shashank and Varnata said, I have a question for both of these people as RCB fans. Let's say today UP had, if they had batted well and UP had scored like 180 or 190, and because we saw in the last game, RCB, once they lost Smriti, they lost a couple of wickets. There was a slight middle order muddle of sorts where Radha Yadav, for all I still can't explain what is she doing on the side. He doesn't get overs to bowl, and then she's slotted to bat at numbers 5 or number 6. The day some collapse happens, do you think on a 180, 190 kind of surface, RCB may actually be tested in a chase?
I'll answer the Radha Yadav bit first. I think Radha Yadav commands a place in her team purely for her fielding. Even at the World Cup, you saw every now and then, even if she didn't start in a particular game, the team somehow found a way to bring her in as a substitute because they rate her fielding highly. She, I think, is one of the best fielders in the women's circuit today, not just in India, but across the board. So, brings that energy to the field. And you saw that with the catch that she took of Meg Lanning, where she ran in nearly a third from inside the, from the boundary rope to, take that catch. So, yeah, that's one. Secondly, she bats. It's not, number 5 is not a new batting position for her. She's been batting at that number for Baroda and also quite a lot in domestic cricket. So, of course, doing it in domestic cricket is one thing. Doing it in the WPL is another. But as such, fundamentally, that number is not alien to her. She's a much improved batter than what she was. We haven't seen proof of that at the higher level, but I think that's something that she's been working on. So I'm not really concerned about Radha Yadav's position in this team. Um, the other bit that I wanted to talk about is UP Warriors. We talked about how the batting fell through and all that, but from the benefit of hindsight, I just wonder what the reasoning was behind changing the opening combination once again. I mean, you saw Kiran Navgire is a big hitter of the ball and someone who can really take on the bowling from get go. Whereas Harleen Deol and Meg Lanning are very similar batters and in the style of play. Both are like to accumulate runs early on in the innings
Accumulators, yeah.
and build. So from that point of view, it was slightly difficult to understand the reasoning behind separating the Navgire Lanning partnership this early into the
Was there a
competition.
fitness issue? Was there a stamina issue, which perhaps for some she's carrying some niggle or something that they didn't want her to be out there early? I
Yeah,
don't know.
not that we know of just yet, but I think fundamentally, I think the opening partnership that they went in the first game was kind of correct. Yes, Navgire
You know,
didn't
so
score
I,
much.
I'll counter this with Shashank with a something. There have been enough cases where champion teams take their time to get their 11 correct, right? We are actually, but having said that, you and I both made a bold call of calling out. You picked UP Warriors as the team to watch out for, and I picked DC Women, and in that first show, and we are both have backed teams which have reached the quarter of the tournament without a point, and significantly low net run. I mean, on the net run rate factor as well. Um, the part is that so there are two questions which Karthik did, and we have to break that up into what RCB will do next with Radha Yadav. Vanatha, you have an opinion because Vineet has brought up this comment, which I'll you know. Do you want to take this on?
Yeah, this is what everybody on the group is waiting for. Vineet versus Varnatha.
I thought he was about to sleep at 11. That's what he said. Not
No, no,
sure
he
why.
has stayed up. I think for just to get this question across to you.
Okay, so we will be exposed against a stronger team. So MI is done, UP is done. Next up is DC. They are already below in the table. Would be interesting to see Gujarat. I think that's the match on Friday, if I'm not wrong. And we'll be back to Mumbai. We'll see what will happen. But again, on a on a stronger note, yes, we will face this issue someday when Smriti goes back, Grace Harris goes back. Three has been questionable since the start of WPL. Earlier we had Meghna, and now it's Hemlata. So I really don't trust the number three. I don't even expect anything from number three. So and then comes Radha, and it will be a question someday. But hoping that I think they are trusting Grace Harris and Nadine de Klerk to finish on the top. From the top they are trusting Grace Harris to give that start, and towards the finish end we'll have Nadine de Klerk. But then even we as RCB fans were talking that there will be some day when Smriti is not there, Grace Harris is not there, and our middle order is almost non-existent. So even if Nadine declares she walks back, so there will be a day where we might be exposed, but hopefully not against Mumbai Indians. I don't want that match. It can be any other team, but not Mumbai Indians. So yeah, and
Why, why,
maybe they
why is
might.
that so? Why not against Mumbai Indians?
Because we won those 2 points against Mumbai, or else I'll have to prepare a script to answer back to the Mumbai Indians team. For now, we are winning, so we are happy. But they might bring in Georgia Wall if that happens before, because instead of I think Lindsay Smith. So yeah, that is the possibility we are looking for. But for now, I think they are backing Grace Harris and Linda De Klerk. So yeah, we shall see how it goes on.
Right, a couple of more comments that have come, and Santosh Udupa, his comment also echoes what Shashank was saying to my question earlier. That more than Radha Yadav's concern, it should be more than Radha Yadav. The concern should be on Himalata's inclusion. What do you have to say on that, Shashank?
I think, I mean, you look at Hemlata bat and you think, wow, man, this she's got such a clean, bat swing and very, very good to watch when she's in full flow. And unfortunately, she hasn't been in full flow in, top flight cricket for a while now. She bats really well with the tempo in domestic cricket that we've very rarely seen, whether it's for India, whether it's for Perth Scorchers briefly in the WBBL and now in the WPL as well. Earlier for Gujarat Giants and now for RCB in that one innings that she played. So I think as a batter, once you just look at her away from the spotlight and you go, wow. I mean, there's no way that she's not scoring runs. But then again, she's been one of those players who makes you tear your hair out in frustration because she's got so much potential, but unfortunately that potential hasn't translated into the kind of form or the runs that she'd want to score. So it's a massive show of faith by RCB to give her that number three spot. So I think it's time that she actually repays that faith at some point in this competition before it's too late.
Okay. Coming back to our audience, again, we've our subscribers are trickling in. We've gotten to 66 so far. We'd like to hit a landmark of 100 at least very soon this week, hopefully. And for that, all you have to do is click on that subscribe button, which is on the bottom right of your screen. Karthik, I'm going to come to you with the difficult question. Um, sometimes the highlights and the reels always show us the Grace Harrises and the believe in Smriti Mandana and some wickets. There was a lot of teamwork and unsung heroes on the field with good fielding and good which don't get kind of picked up. A lot of runs saved today for RCB. Those kind of things. Would you have a point of view on that? Is it coming together better as a team of the non-stars, which are RCB legacy for 18 years has been a team of few stars.
Yes, and I think there was also one of the questions that has also come on the chat from a person called Vinay Kritik, where his question was, see, RCB looks doesn't seem to have like a strong Indian presence apart from Richa and Smriti. So I had this question because I remember last year Sabineni Mega was there, and then there was Kanika Ahuja who finished again. So does has RCB ever had somebody as a personality, an Indian personality outside of Richa and Smriti? But while I asked that, I think every WPL side also maximum probably has two or three Indian presence. But since I haven't watched as much as WPL, I'm going to ask that question back to Shashank, and then going to answer your question on what are the other combinations that seem to be working in. It's not like the traditional star-studded RCB sign. I'll come back to that. So Shashank, who beyond Richa and Smriti, how's it been in RCB so far over the last 3 years? Shashank, are you hearing? Hey, Shashank, are you able to hear the question?
I think he can't
Shashank,
hear it.
looks like Shashank's not able
I
to
can't
hear
hear
us.
Karthik. No.
Okay, okay, okay. So, but I'll then go back to the earlier question that that was being asked. Shashank, is the audio working for you? Still not happening?
Can you hear the rest of us, Shashank?
I can hear you, but I can't hear Karthik.
Okay, I
That's
can hear
strange.
Karthik. Do you
Yeah.
want to try popping out and coming back in? Sometime it happens.
I can hear everyone else actually, the other two.
Okay.
I can't
So
hear
you're
only
asking me to
Karthik,
pop in,
but
pop
I'll do
out?
that. Yeah.
One of you, I mean, somewhere, I don't know. I don't know
Right.
what the
Fine.
solution to this is.
Okay,
Okay.
Shashank's
Meanwhile,
gone.
we've got Varnata, so we can
Yeah.
ask her a couple of. Okay, okay. I've got a low hanging fruit for you. Smriti Mandana, talk us through how she's doing without, her key asset, which is who's missing this year. So you want to tell us how she's been as a leader over the last, two matches as well as the lead up to this in the absence of an Elise Perry.
Is that question to me?
Yeah, Mandana, for
Question
you.
was to you.
Okay. I think she is a good leader. I mean, I like the way she is. She's totally opposite to the other 18 men's captain, that is Virat, who is aggressive on the field.
Virat isn't the
And
captain.
sorry?
Virat isn't the men's captain.
He was right.
Reminder,
So,
reminder.
so my point was he was aggressive, and she's opposite to him. She's totally calm and focused. Of course, we are missing Ellis Perry this year, and we thought I didn't. To be honest, I didn't have any hopes this year that we might do well because it's very difficult to fill shoes for someone like Ellis Perry. But then I think with whatever resources we have been doing pretty well. Of course, last game was not that good. We messed up the batting order, we messed up even the bowling changes and the field placement. I think she acknowledged that today. But then overall in 2 games, I think she did pretty well today. So it also depends on how every player is performing, right? Only then the captain becomes a team's captain, right? And the team is winning. So yeah, we shall wait and see how it goes on ahead in the tournament.
Not to be a killjoy here, but just the one thing that we learned from last year was that RCB won their first 2 games quite handsomely, and then they went on a losing spiral and then got knocked out. So I think I'd still tread a little bit of caution with the start that they've got. It's been fantastic, but I think they will also learn from last year that they can't take it lightly now, and so yeah, that's something that they'll do well to look out for.
I think Smriti has already said that we shouldn't be thinking too far ahead. They asked in today's match about it. And even in the podcast with Mr. Nags, she has told about it that we shouldn't be thinking too far ahead. We shall see whatever is in the present. So I think, yeah, that might work with RCB.
Right. And I had a question, and I think both Shashank and Nirav
Mm,
have dropped off. That
yeah.
sounds like, yeah, looks like the internet. And again, the internet seems to be equally distributed on either sides of Bangalore city, because Shashank and I are on the same side of the city, while Nirav and Varnata are on the other side of the city. So one of the questions I had for the group as such was to see that RCB is having a lot of performances that, that are coming good. People aren't able to score runs of Lauren Bell. Lindsay Smith is also keeping things quiet. Most of their bowlers are conceding like 10 dots in a 4 over spell. So where is it that runs can be scored? Is Shreyanka Patil the only loose link so far, or are teams not picking bowlers early on, like somebody like Arundhati Reddy or Nadine de Klerk? What's changed this year from last year? Sure.
That's for Shashank.
Shashank?
Well, I think Shriyanka Patil bowled quite all right in the first two
Yeah.
overs. She got hit in the last two, but I think she was fairly okay to start off with. I think with her, she's coming back from a long injury layoff, so I think she will probably take a little bit of time to get into her groove. But and also she's a bit of a confidence bowler. The earlier that she strikes in a spell, she completely transforms. But having said that, I think she'll be the first to admit that she was slightly off color in those last two overs today. But I don't think she's that much of a worry just yet. I think she's a very good bowler. She's got the ability to turn the ball sharply on any kind of surface, not necessarily just a turning wicket. So I think that's one massive plus that she's got. And over the last year or two, from when she first broke into the WPL, I think she's worked a lot on variations in pace. I mean, you can see her toss the ball up, get that dip and drift, which is so beautiful to see for an off spinner. So I think she's got a lot of variations up her sleeve, and I think she's while she's work in progress, she's a very exciting option to watch out for. And I'm not too concerned about the fact that she's gone for runs. She's largely a wicket taking bowler, and you saw that when RCB won the WPL in 2024, I think she was the purple cap holder. So I think I still back her to deliver that kind of performance this season. Uh, but having said that, I think yeah, I think she has to work a little bit on her consistency, and probably that'll come with time now that she's back in full rhythm.
Right. And as much as we've spoken about uh, as much as we've spoken about Shreyanka Patil, I'm just curious and going back to the earlier ping on Radha Yadav. Why do you think she was not bowled? Is she just like an option that if required, she will be come on to bowl? Or was there not like a impressive matchup because there's Deepti Sharma who was batting? What do you think were the reasons she wasn't brought on? I think the previous game she bowled 2 overs, right?
I mean, I think they had enough bowling, irrespective, right? Today, I mean, you had the opposition on the mat, so there was really no need to bring her on at that point in the game. And also, these days, invariably, I always believe that captains are somewhat influenced by a logic that I find it hard to understand, of not bowling a left arm spinner against a left hand batter. That's something that is somewhat been wired into teams and captains across the board, whichever league, whichever level you go to. The one thing that you always see captains do is not bring on a left arm spinner when a left hand batter is on. Something that we saw even yesterday in the India New Zealand ODI, when you didn't see Jadeja come on to bowl for a long time, especially because they had Devon Conway and Henry Nichols batting. So that's a logic that's completely blown out, and everyone seems to be following it. So I I kind of think that that may have been one of the reasons. But having said that, also I don't think there was really a particular need for Radha Yadav today. On another day, when the openers get going 60 runs in the first six, and then all the main bowlers are getting it for runs, you will definitely see her come in, and the captain will probably try something different. But today wasn't that day.
Right. And as Shashank answers that, there's one question that's coming from Santosh Udupa, who's a red fan when it comes to the WPL and the IPL, but a yellow fan when it comes to international cricket. He's a supporter of Australia. So Santosh Udupa is asking, with RCB failing to wrap the lower middle order in the second consecutive game, would it be a good call to retain 2 overs of Lauren Bell towards the end instead of just one? What do you think?
Well, if they had if they had kept 2 overs of Lauren Bell in each of the first two games, she wouldn't have picked up the wicket of Amelia Kerr in the game against MI, and she wouldn't have picked up the first wicket of Harleen Deol today. So the very fact that she bowled with rhythm and she swung the ball and troubled the batters with the late movement in the first 2 overs forced Smriti Mandana to go for her in the third over, and that's when she got the 2 wickets because the batters were trying to break free and jailbreak. So I think that was an excellent call to keep her in. It's a bit like how Rajat Patidar used Bhuvneshwar Kumar, right? I mean, or Josh Hazelwood. Alternatively, in the in the IPL season last year, where one of them were always there to bowl those 3 overs up front, to especially in conditions that kind of suited them. So I think it's a good strategy to follow, because when you've got a bowler who's bowled 2 gun overs up top, and the pressure is on the batters, you want to capitalize on that by trying to see if they can give you that 1 wicket, and that's what she did in both the games so far. So I'm not too sure the 2-2 break will kind of work well, especially in this kind of rhythm that Lauren Bell has shown.
Right. That's interesting that Santosh thought about that angle, but it's fair that that extra third over is where you were able to utilize all of the hard work in the first 2 overs that she bowled, and then she got those wickets. So that way, it's a good example that you were able to bring in from Hazelwood and Bhuvaneshwar Kumar. And as a CSK fan, I remember going to that game at Chepauk and seeing, and then remarking what a good bowling lineup RCB had last year when they won the title. And I think going back to one of the earlier questions that Nirav had asked in terms of, hey, who are those people who don't, who aren't getting the headlines but are doing the dirty work? Um, I think I'm going to go. One is as Priyanka Patil, first 2 overs she bowled pretty well. Crucial dot balls, adding to the mix. Then there's Arundhati Reddy, fielding energy. Last time I was asking that, I remember speaking to Shashank saying, is Arundhati Reddy a weak link? Because I think she went for about 37. Today, she went for half those runs, 4 overs and 18. Again, pretty unsung. And I don't know if Georgia Wall is going to get a game at this point. But for now, yeah, I'll probably pick Shriyanka Patil, Arundhati Reddy. Shashank had earlier picked Radha Yadav for her fielding energy. But those are just the 2, 3 I could observe. Is there anyone else that you are observing, Varnata?
Nadine de Klerk, I mean, with the bat, of course, she did her magic in the last game, but with the ball today, I think when she came, she picked up in the first ball. I'm not sure, but yeah, she has been good with the ball as well. So yeah, for me, she.
Right. Is it a good time to say Isala Cup Namde and start jinxing? Uh,
No, no, we have stopped saying that. Even Virat
I
doesn't say that. We have stopped saying that. Only fans outside the RCB fan club
By the
will.
way, Smriti Mandana spoke about that at the presentation, right? She said, the one thing that I've learned about RCB is not to, become too ambitious and look at,
Yeah, I just
something
said
something
about
on
that.
those lines. I can't remember the exact
She
wordings, but
said that with
yeah,
Mr.
she
Nax
said
as well.
basically the one
Not
thing that
to
I've learned is
steal,
to not get ahead of myself, being with this team. So, which
not
she kind of summed it
not
up
to look
perfectly there.
too far ahead. Yeah, she
Yeah.
said that. Correct.
Okay.
With RCB.
Uh, j- just a reminder, there was another team playing. Um, so while for RCB, the view is RCB fans and RCB supporters, the view is nice from the top. Shashank, let's do a deep dive into what can UP Warriors do. You mentioned the opening combination; they could look at options. But beyond that, is it a function of just their top three? I mean, Phoebe and Meg Lanning just delivering what they normally do, or is
Yeah, I
there a
think,
bowling problem?
but I don't think it's panic stations just yet for UP. I mean, there's still a quality batting lineup, so I think it's just a question of one good performance coming through together and taking them over the line. Even in the game that they lost against Gujarat Giants, you saw they made a massive fist of that chase. It wasn't like they just caved in. especially with that partnership between in the middle between Phoebe Litchfield when she got going. So and Shweta Sehrawat, I think. So I'm not too worried about the fact that they've now lost two games. I think they're still a very good batting lineup. So you'd back them to come good. The only thing that I would like to see from them is more consistency in terms of the way they pick their squads. Now they shouldn't wholesomely make changes because the fundamentals are still very strong in the team. So that's one thing that I'd be wary of, especially if I was in their camp. Still a very good team to make the top three.
I
I mean,
have a
good
point
captain,
to
good
add
coach, right? I
here.
mean, quality, A level captain and A level coach, seasoned, hardened pros. You wouldn't expect them to go into a panic mode like, let's say, a Gujarat Giants did last year, where they kept changing of their combinations there last year. Um, yeah, go ahead, Karthik. Sorry.
I have a point because when we were saying what are the changes UP could potentially do, I was just curious because Gander Dottin, when I last remember seeing her playing for West Indies, she batted at four, or there have also been times where she's batted in the top order. So
Open,
is
yeah.
that a possibility? Like we were talking about Kiran Navgire batting and then Hurley in the all batting at the top, and how Hurley and Meg Lanning are very similar players. So for all the attacking batting that Dottin is doing today, coming in at number seven, is there merit in Dottin going higher up the order?
Shashank?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a question that we could have asked of them even in the previous match, when she was held back at number seven. So I think that's one area that they look to see if they can improve on and see if she can bat position higher, maybe or two at number four, number five, and that'll kind of just lengthen that batting order a little bit. Also give them that firepower just below Litchfield. So I think that's something that they could definitely look to do. It's a very valid point. I'm not so sure that holding back players and giving them a specific role of just 4 overs, 5 overs batters in a T20 game, especially when they've got the ability to hit 100 or 40 balls, is the right idea. So I think I'd definitely like to see Dottin, get a lot more opportunities to, show that she can do that. So that's one step, one possible way of doing it is by batting her at number four and number five. So yeah, definitely a very valid point there.
Okay. So a lot of teams are doing this, right? A lot of teams are designating a finisher who is, for lack of a better example, the Dinesh Karthik of each team, right? Whose role is to come in post 13th, 14th over, right? There is a Nadine de Klerk who very clearly has been identified as that role. There is a Chanel Henry who's been clearly identified at DC for that role. Is it possible that Deanna Doughton is that person? So they'll only send her in, and today she came in at seven, right? She did come in at seven today. So is it not a function of batting order as much as point in the game or in the innings where she will come in? And I think I don't know if MI has got such a player. They haven't. Um, MI has got only three top players actually, top order players.
Yeah, but I think but I think if you need 80 runs of the last 8 overs, who would you rather have coming in? Would it be Deandra Doughton, who is capable of offsetting that pressure by taking a bowler apart for 20 runs in an over, or a Kiran
Mhm.
Navgire or Shweta Sehrawat, who are relatively inexperienced, relatively
Inexperienced. Yeah.
newer
Fair
players?
enough.
So that's the call. That it's a balance. It's a fine balance at the end of the day. But I think
Wouldn't it
um,
matter? Wouldn't that opinion or that positioning thought process change in the dugout depending on whether they're going first or whether they're chasing?
yeah,
So
it could
I'm
change.
saying, isn't there flexibility in these things? Because effectively, Kiran Avgare was identified and in domestic cricket as well as the opener in the Shefali Verma scheme of things, right? You go hard at the top. It's okay if you don't, you get out in the power play, right? Whereas I think for the more seasoned international pros, they don't want that. They don't want to have players who they will gamble with and risk losing in the power play. Is it a thinking? Is it a valid point?
Possibly. The one thing that we've learned as T20 cricket has evolved is, batters don't put their prize on the wicket as much as they did maybe even 7 8 years ago. There's a lot more freedom in the way they approach their game. So I think that's what they definitely want to do and sustain that kind of tempo right through, rather than having two different batters approach a game, you know, the same way. So I think, um, I mean, I'm not so sure if the outcome would have been any different had they, done anything different. Like even Doughton had gotten a little higher today, because clearly that 50 for 5, it could have been 50 for 3, and then they could have scored 160, and 160 could have still not been enough. But having said that, if they've identified roles and if they are clear about it, and then Deandra Doughton knows that she's a last 6 overs or a last 7 overs batter, I think then there aren't too many merits to argue against. But if my point is, if you know that a batter is capable of batting a lot higher and wants to bat a lot higher and has not been communicated to, then that could be a bit of a problem.
What about
And
UP
the
Warriors bowling?
I mean, you look at that
actually,
attack, and you look at that attack, and it's a gun attack, right? I mean,
It
that
is. There's
not too
Shikha,
many
there's
not too many attacks in this competition have that kind of quality among the Indian bowlers, right? Shikha Pandey is probably, as Meg Lanning said, the best swing bowler, in world
yeah,
cricket today. Even
yeah.
she may have not played for India for the last 3 or 4 years, but very quality swing bowler. So
Can't think
you've got
of
her, you've got
Shobna,
Deepti Sharma, A-list India
Sharma.
cricketer. You've got Asha Shobna, a terrific leg spinner. So, I mean, I'm kind of, as I said, I mean, they've got a lot of things going for them. It's just a
On
question
paper.
of nothing having clicked so far. I mean, so I think it's just a matter of time before it all comes together.
So that's a wonderful thing, right? That the teams I mean, at least you and me identified on that on paper seem to have got the great playing 11s are at the bottom of the table, which means that it's a lot of healthier competition and there's not much of a gap between actually the first and the last team this year. Karthik.
Yeah, I mean, and to think of it, that not many gave Gujarat Giants and even a chance, and they are right up there, having won 2 games and having started the competition so well.
Yeah, and scored
And you've
200 plus on
seen
both of them.
200 plus in both the games, and you've seen some unheralded players coming through the ranks, which no one really thought they'd see from there. So
No,
they've been a bit of a
I beg to
revelation.
differ. You had pointed out one of them would, you had pointed out Anushka Sharma would be a star.
Yeah,
And
yeah. I mean,
the,
largely, I mean, you didn't think that they would give them the younger players that long a rope. I mean, going by what we'd seen in the first 3 seasons,
yeah.
clearly they didn't really have a lot of faith in some of the Indian players. That's the perception that we had from the outside. It may have been different within, but now you're getting to see that confidence and backing a lot more. I don't know if that's because of a change in the coaching regime with Michael Klinger coming in last year, and obviously they had much better results to show than they had in the first 2 seasons. So there's been clearly a little bit of a mindset shift that's also kind of helping, and also continuity helps in a lot of ways, right? Ash Gardner was the captain last year. I mean, they didn't make the playoffs, but they've persisted with her. They've given her the role, and also I think that's also that continuity also kind of helps. So they've developed a good structure, and I just hope that they continue backing the talent that they've kind of, you know, given a platform to right now.
So another thing which we had brought up in our first show was that there was a couple of seasons back, uh, four overseas player, two three India players, and then a massive drop off, right? So effectively each team was playing with eight players and three miscellaneous, especially even the winning teams. I mean, Mumbai Indians all 3 seasons had a bit of that. I mean, what we are seeing is that the fringe, the player number 8, 9, 10, 11 on scheme of things is not so far back now, and which is why all these teams are having more faith on sending a Anushka Sharma at number 3 or opening the bowling with a newbie or Nandini. I think for Delhi got the second over of the game. So those kind of things are happening, and which is wonderful to see actually. That the development of the Indian domestic undervalued talent is picking up, and that has developed really fast over the last 3 years to be up to scratch now. Karthik, you
Absolutely.
have
I
a point of
think,
view?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think that way we're seeing, them getting more opportunities than they otherwise would. So it's no more about just those two, three players or your overseas talent. So that way in the WPL, and India is also coming off a World Cup victory, though it's a different format. And there's a lot of confidence coming. A lot of people now are realizing that having India now having won the World Cup, the side that has got them the victory. Maybe a few of them had played the WPL, the previous 2 seasons, and they're getting a lot of confidence by interacting with some of the talents that are available in terms of, like, say, a player like Ash Gardner or Meg Lanning. So I'm seeing that confidence level very, very consistently seep through. And I'm sure somebody like Nandini Sharma, after her bowling performance yesterday, would also be now thinking, okay, what next can I do to be on par with, the best in the world, and what's my roadmap to becoming a world-class bowler? So that way, I think, yes, I'm seeing a high. I'm seeing that people are confident about your domestic talent. But to go back to one of the points that both of you were talking about, which is what could have UP Warriors done better? And I was just looking at the way Grace Harris batted. She had about some 85% control rate, saw some data on Cricinfo, a 97% control rate for Smriti Mandana. So it never looked like UP Warriors could make them defend. And I was just curious, while they did get Deepti Sharma to bowl that first ball, and Grace Harris has been employing that slog sweep a lot. And Grace Harris, I think, started the innings, both the innings, even against Mumbai Indians, as well as today's game against UP Warriors, first ball boundary. So how do you keep somebody like Grace Harris quiet as an Australian? And I'm just thinking, was there an opportunity to bowl Sophie Eccleston right up there, specifically for a matchup against somebody like Grace Harris, who has been taking off? So I'm just curious, would that have probably made a difference? Because you do have quality bowling, even though somebody like forget her name, Shika Pandey. She conceded two boundaries in her first two balls, but she came back very strongly. Where I think she conceded 20 only of the next 16 balls. So while the bowling quality is there, because that power play was missed, they weren't able to keep the batters defensive. What other option does UP Warriors have to keep, if a side is raging runs? I was thinking, if could they have used Sophie Eccleston better? Is there a
Shashank,
point?
you want to go?
Oh, I'm really not sure, about this, what to really say, because so I mean, clearly one of them was going to bowl against the matchup they were meant to do, right? Like, you
Hmm.
had Deepthi in because you thought that Smriti's record against off spin is, she's tended to get out a lot against off spin in recent times, and that's one of the reasons why Deepthi came on
Hmm.
early, and it so turned out that Grace Harris went after her. Similarly, had Eccleston come on, she would have been that matchup against Grace Harris, but Smriti would have found it easier. So I think that was a double-edged sword that they had. Whoever came on, there was always this risk of the other going against going teeing off against
Right.
them. So I think that was the catch-22, and probably this is one of those rare cases of a light right-left combination, working in a team's favor in a chase early. I mean, we've seen this right-left combination being done to death with his Indian T20 setup under Gautam Gambhir and Surya Kumar Yadav, where they always believe in having a left-hander come in at the fall of a left-hander and right-hander at the fall of a right-hander. And today you saw the benefits of that, working in RCB's favor.
Right, I know that's kind of hindsight bias as such. As as fans, sometimes you have that hindsight bias to say, "Hey, this would have been the only difference." But yeah, that's all. As fans, that's what all of us want to see. What are the various simulations that could have happened? And yeah, that was what I could gather. But any other closing notes?
I have
I think
a couple of questions to go around, and everybody can quickly, spitball on this. What are the positives for UP Warriors? A cliche question, but let's. What are the positives they can draw from this, possibly from this match, which is over in 32 overs? Shashank, Purnata, whoever wants to jump.
Phoebe Litchfield, I mean, the way she's batting, absolutely like a dream. So may it long continue. It's just that today she was slightly unfortunate. She hit the ball really well, flat batted that, but straight to the fielder. On another day, she would have actually hit that over mid on, and it would have been back to back fours and that reverse sweep six. And the momentum would have swung UP's way. So she's batting really, really well. So I just hope that she continues going the way she has, and things could be a lot different for them.
Manata, you want to take a shot at this?
Not with UP Warriors. I mean, I don't want positives considering I'm supporting one team with all my heart. But again, I agree with Shashank what he said. And I'm sure even Meg Lannon, we have seen what she has done in Delhi Capitals. So any day if she goes on, then the other team has to rethink what can be done. So, right. So That has been the positives. And apart from that, again, Asha, she has done well in RCB, Asha Shobna.
Yeah.
So yeah, right. So
Ball just
again,
that one over, right? And went
One
for
over
20.
17
And
runs.
went for 17 runs. Yeah.
today, but generally I'm saying she's done well in RCB in the previous year. So even I think last match she was batting as well.
No,
So
but it
yeah.
doesn't count as a positive. That's what I think. Positive for UP Warriors.
What can they look
Um,
like? What positives can you draw out? Like, because all captains and coaches in there, at the end of the match, they say, we can, so they all have these, uh, their internal player of the match and things like that for special moments or special performances.
I mean,
This,
the fact
this
that
kind of a
they,
show. Yeah.
the fact that they dragged the game to, batted out the 20 overs and got to 143 from 50 for 5 was a massive positive. I mean,
Correct.
you just
Yeah.
imagine the damage that, obviously, inflicted on the net run rates. The damage is already massive because the way RCB approached the chase. But if they had
Hmm.
got 120, 125, that would have been far too steep to
Yeah.
kind of overcome in the remaining matches.
Karthik, any thoughts on
I'm not looking at
alternatively?
positive. Yeah, not positive exactly, but I think they've identified a certain chink, and that's what even Shashank spoke about. Where when you know that somebody like Meg Lanning or the other opening batter, both of them Harleen Deol, both of them bat similar. So when you know that there is no scope for fast runs, and it's not even a flat wicket, it's a wicket where you're having high quality bowling option like Lauren Bell come in. So I don't know if they've identified this as an opportunity area that somebody at the top needs to go, and split the bowling. Like Santosh was talking about 2 overs of Lauren Bell. Maybe if they hit Lauren Bell off this, off her lengths, then it suddenly forces RCB to think in a different manner. So that's why I was toying with the idea of Dottin. So Meg Lanning as a captain has always been very aggressive because the team of Avengers that she has in Australia at her disposal was very different. The WPL has forced Australia to even think that okay, loss could be an option, or they'll have to think defensively. So I'm just hoping and observing to see what would Meg Lanning do, or what changes would she do, because I think against RCB like bowling lineups with Lauren Bell bowling teams. I don't know if that the only option is to defend for 12 balls of Lauren Bell or 18 balls of Lauren Bell, but is there an option where you can basically go attack her and make her not very confident with her lengths? And is there an opportunity? That's how I probably see it.
Okay. Absolute reverse question, which used to be a phrase from back in the day, which is match ka mujrim kaun. So who's the polar opposite of the player of the match? Whose performance swung it in RCB's favor from UP Warriors? Was it that one over from
No, I wouldn't really
Diana
call it the
Doughton?
dot in over. I wouldn't call it the dot in over. They were already dead. It is just that
Catches? Any
somebody.
catches went? No, not really,
No,
right?
no, I think if I were to look at their opening, combination, they basically lost the game because their middle order their middle order basically was not able to consolidate. So that's where, if you look at the win percentage, it would have dropped exactly there in those overs between 8 and 10. The dot in part, uh, they like maybe they had a 1% chance to win at the point. It became 0.5%, but we saw 32 runs being scored because if you remember, even the over before dot in bowled, they were 60 odd in 5 overs, and then it became much more. So I don't think that 1 over was the match ka mojrim. It basically killed all hopes from 1% to 0%. That's all it did. But that's not the impact. But I think the bigger impact from a match ka mojrim standpoint would probably have to be
Had been
the
Hardin
middle
Deol
order.
then in that case because as the non-Meglanning opener, her job was to go hard.
I mean, I don't know if Harleen usually is that player who goes hard because even in the World Cup,
She doesn't. She doesn't.
she and Pratika Rawal were accused of, hey, you guys are batting overs out, but not scoring runs at a faster clip. So I just think that it's wrong positioning. So
Hmm.
they need to really think about who do they want at the top of the order. Do they have their best three? Like, for example, the way RCB used Grace Harris. Apparently, in the post-match presentation, Grace Harris mentioned that she was readying to face the old ball. And Malolan Rangarajan, their coach, saw her at the nets and say, I want you to go play with the new ball and open. And that decision has worked wonders for them. So if you have a hard-hitting all-rounder, I don't see the point of slotting somebody in a DK only role when you know that they can also excel at some other role. I know it creates confusion in the camp, but it's better to have one win on the table rather than have like four or five fangled theories on, and like the way basketball is. You just have a certain theory about the world, and you live in a parallel world thinking that this theory will work someday, but you're not adding to wins on the table. So I'm really curious to see how Meg Lanning would want to correct this.
By scoring runs. She hasn't come good yet. I mean, we are used to Meg Lanning 50, or 40 balls pretty much every other game, right? And that's not happened. So I think UP Warriors could do very well with some runs from Meg, and I think Deepthi needs to come in and play her role as the bowler. I think her
Right.
bowling has been underwhelming for both the days. Final thoughts, Shashank? On okay, let's take another turn. Let's preview a bit of tomorrow's game. It's MI versus GG, if I'm not wrong. Is that what the game
Yeah.
tomorrow is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So what can we look forward to?
We'll go with Varnata first.
Yeah,
MI is
Vananda.
playing. So do
MI
you
is
do you have
playing.
any wishes for MI?
You want it
Not
to
really.
rain, right?
Sorry.
You want it to rain, right? Split the points.
No, not really. I want to enjoy good cricket. So yeah, I'll be a neutral supporter, and of course, Gigi is playing well. On other side, MI has been doing well. For years now, they already have two trophies, and I don't want them to have three. So I don't know whom to support, but it's going to be a good match.
That's a very politically neutral answer. I expected Varnata to give something
It's
fiery to say that I
12:15 in the
believe.
night, and I've already been done with so much of cricket and work. So I thought let's wrap it up quickly.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Ladies
What
requested. You want to tell us what this is? Comment, Karthik, and then we'll
Malo
close up.
bhai, yeah, I noticed Grace Harris actually used a couple of words today. She said shukriya in the post match
At the
presentation,
end.
and she said Malo bhai. So she's warming up to India really well, and
Okay.
very few people, I'm happy to see cricketers like Matthew Hayden or Steve Waugh who warmed up to India, and they were just very open with their experience. And I'm happy to see Grace Harris also extend the same. Meg Lanning as Meg D has also been working very well with the setup. So it's so nice to see India at the center of the cricketing universe and people adopting Indian names and customs. So yeah, thanks Santosh for mentioning that.
All right. Just one final thing. We still have our giveaway contest on, which is you can win an autographed cup from Jemima if you guess who's going to be the winner. That contest is up and running. So for that, you have to. Sorry, what you have to do is um,
Comment on
you
the.
have to comment on our Instagram page, follow us there, follow us on, subscribe to us on YouTube. Just quite simple, actually, simple things to do. While you're on Instagram, just follow us and just put out the name of the team you think is going to win, and we'll give out this cup to a lucky winner at the end of the tournament. That's it from my end. If you Karthik, Shashank, Vanita, thank you so much for joining us. Sorry to keep you up, Vanita, because it's um, you can. I mean, I guess now you can sleep well with the view from the top. It's going to be a good night. So good night from my side. Good night, Shashank. Good night, Karthik.
Good night.
Good
And
night,
we've had a
guys.
show across 2 days. Huh? It's we recorded it on 12th and now we've transitioned to 13th.
All right. Great. So we'll see you guys hopefully tomorrow, if not soon enough, on the big World Wide Web. Thank you so much.